So once you're able to go home from hospital, and the next day the midwife will come and see you. And again, the midwife will check over yourself and baby to make sure everything is okay. So for yourself, the midwife will ask how you're feeling and about your mood. Please tell the midwife if you need any extra support. She will also ask about your breasts and your nipples and ask if there's any soreness or tenderness or any blockages with your milk if you're breastfeeding. And she'll also discuss breast care if you are bottle feeding. The midwife will also want to feel your abdomen and check that your uterus is decreasing in size. The midwife will also ask about your bleeding, and she may ask to see your sanitary pad. If you've had a cesarean, the midwife will want to look at your cesarean scar and make sure it's healing okay. And if you've had stitches, the midwife will need to look at your stitches to make sure everything is healing okay. The midwife will also ask if you have any redness or soreness or tenderness in the back of your calves, and that's to check that you haven't got any symptoms of a blood clot or deep vein thrombosis. The midwife will check that you're able to move around okay and you're not having any difficulties with your mobility. And the midwife will also check baby from head to toe to make sure there's no signs of infection. And also the midwife will inquire how the feeding is going, how often baby is feeding and how much baby is taking. And the midwife will also inquire about baby's bowel movements and passing of urine as well. The midwife will also look at baby's skin to see if there is any concerns with jaundice, which is a yellowing of the skin and a yellowing of the eyes. If that is present, the midwife will advise if any action is needed. Within the first 48 hours of delivery, this is something that needs investigation by paediatricians. After 48 hours, it can be a natural sign of baby processing the excess blood cells that they have at delivery. If your baby does have jaundice, they will give advice to make sure you feed regularly and monitor baby for alertness. The midwife may usually come and see you on the first day, then may revisit you a few days later to check baby's weight and make sure that they have not lost excessive amount of weight. And then they may come and see you a couple of times more before handing over to the health visitor. That usually maybe happens after a couple of weeks. And the health visitor will have already got in contact with you and arranged a home visit to come and see you and visit with you and your baby. If you have any concerns within the first 2 weeks, you need to phone the midwives, and that will be the community midwives, and you will have their contact numbers. They do visits every day in your geographical area. If you feel like you need a visit that day and you're not scheduled to have one, try and phone them as soon as possible between 8 and 9 o'clock and see if it will be possible to have a visit once you've discussed your concerns. Have a conversation with the health visitor about your autistic needs. Discuss how it's best to communicate with you, whether you need lots of information or whether you need pictures or whether you need lots of time to process the information. Don't be afraid of asking for extra appointments if the service is able to provide it. And if you would like further support and care with the health visiting service, ask and they will make a plan of what they have and what they can provide for you. Please never be afraid to phone anybody and ask for advice. All the health services are there to support you with this transition to motherhood. You can phone the community midwife number with any concerns you have in the postnatal period. You'll be able to speak to a midwife or a student midwife or a midwifery support worker who will be able to offer you advice and the correct plan of action. If you feel you need a visit, you can still ask and see if that is possible. Most midwifery services in the community postnatally will offer home visits between 9 to 5, and that will depend on the workload that day and the prioritisation of care. The community midwives may sometimes ask you to bring the baby to the community midwife's office to be checked over if needed. Some areas offer postnatal clinics where you can have a time and go and visit the midwife. If you have concerns that are very serious, you must phone the hospital or phone 999. If there are any concerns about feeling exceptionally unwell, or if your baby is having difficulties with breathing, or if your baby is presenting as very unwell, you must phone 999 for advice.